So, Merry Christmas, everybody. So, Christmas Day at Abhayagiri. And just a few thoughts about Christmas, I guess. We obviously share a different view of spirituality or spiritual aspirations than say those of the Christian traditions. But I was thinking that actually we have, in many ways, a lot in common, at least with what Christ taught. It's not always so apparent in how it's being manifested in the world these days, as any religion, including Buddhism, kind of takes a lot of different pathways from its original form and from its original teacher. So it happens that way in Buddhism and Christianity and probably all religions. But just looking at what, I think some of the common values that we share with what Christ taught a couple thousand years ago. And even though our ultimate aim and goal is different, and also some of the vehicles that we adopt to get there can be quite different. There's a couple of things that come to mind that, in addition to, of course, some of the moral values of non-harming and respect for others that the traditions have in common. But just thinking, even like today, the breakfast that was offered by Tanisibo's parents, Doug and Sarah, the quality of generosity, the quality of giving, the quality of kindness is a common theme that comes out, and it's the kind of one of the external conditions of the world that we like to cultivate to just make this a whole lot easier place to be in. There's a lot of difficulty and suffering in our world, and this quality of generosity and kindness is kind of the lubricant that makes it all work as best as it can. So just to acknowledge that, and the best of the Christian world also cherishes those values of kindness and generosity, and even if they, the secular versions of Christmas seem to take over with consumerism and this being the best time of year to make money if you're a business and that kind of stuff. At least it can stem from a place of generosity, in that people are thinking of others when they go out and do their shopping. They want to offer support, kindness, and just the happiness that comes from giving. So just to honor that quality, and also the quality of compassion. Best I can tell, if nothing else, Christ was trying to be the most compassionate to all beings that he could. In fact, that ideal that is attributed to him anyway of offering his life to exonerate people from their sins, even though you can't, at least in our way of understanding, you can't take away anybody's karma, so to speak. And so there's no real conceivable way that you can take away somebody's, absolve other people from their own quote-unquote sins, if you want to call it that. In our way, we would probably refer to it more as missteps or unskillful activities. People are the owners of their karma. But just the fact that he had that aspiration, even if it, in our eyes, isn't a particularly realistic one, it's an aspiration to relieve the suffering of others in the best way that he could think of, in a very dramatic way. And I think he lived his life trying to fulfill that goal. So remembering that aspiration that we can also have that aspiration to help others, relieve others' suffering in the best way we can, and attending to those who are less fortunate, bringing in those who are not as well off as we are, and along with generosity, offering that kind of kind, well-wishing, and acting in ways that can help end suffering for all beings to the best of our abilities. We do it the best we can to what our current abilities are right now. So even here in the monastery, we see somebody struggling, have a difficult time, we go over and we help them. Maybe they're having trouble lifting a heavy load, we go over and offer some help. Or struggling with some frustration or difficult interaction, we offer an ear for the wish to relieve the suffering that they may be having. So this is all very Christian kind of activity, I think. So acting on those impulses externally, and then also, I think when I was brought up as a Christian also, just the few things that kind of resonated with me were the times when we were just encouraged to be quiet and to move inward. Sometimes in church services there was a few moments where people were just sitting quietly and tuning in to a quiet stillness inside, and that level of internal peace, wisely attending to what's going on inside ourselves, and just enjoying the stillness and using the cues. We're so lucky here, using the cues of nature to help bring that stillness to mind. And sometimes, we can get lost in the tasks of working in the forest and doing all the things we need to do to maintain the forest, but just remembering to take that time to sit and quietly enjoy the peace of the stillness in the forest, and reflecting that some of these living beings, well, I'm not sure if you call it a being, but some of these living entities, trees for instance, have been here longer than we have, standing in the same place. And if somehow we could imagine if they had some sort of higher consciousness, what just standing in one place for hundreds of years might be like, and watching the world evolve around us, everything arising, passing away from this one point of solid, grounded stillness. So we have the forest here to remind us of turning inward in that way, and to take advantage of that, so to cultivate those qualities of stillness, engagement when we need to engage with compassion and kindness, and recollect that this is something that both Christians and Buddhists and anybody else can start to reflect on, to make some meaning, make a meaningful life of what we've been given. So I offer that for this morning's reflection.